A very warm good afternoon to one and all present here. We welcome you all to the Zentax Talks 39, and we have the topic this week as new update in GST Portal, Invoice Management System. And we are also delighted to have our associate partner of this event, Prem Infotech Tally. People are joining for the webinar, so we will start the session in another 5 minutes. Thank you.
Good evening to all the participants. This is the 39th edition of the webinar organized by Zentax Clinic. I am happy to be part of this meeting, and then I thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts on the new avenue or new system in the GSTN portal. If at all any system issues, if you are not able to hear or if you are not getting the video, kindly contact our admin. The number already has been shared through the joining link. In that, you will be having the number, so you can contact her, so she will be able to settle anything. So kindly use her services. If at all, if you are not able to hear the voice properly, or if you are not able to see the screen, so immediately she will be able to respond to your queries. First one is Kattradu Kaiman Nadavu Kallagu Ulaganavu. This is the thing. Every webinar, wherever I speak, I put this as my first slide, because whatever I learned is very, very small bit. So, but happy to share that what I have learned. So there are a lot to learn, but I'm going to see some of the smallest things what I know, I'm going to share with you. So with these remarks, we'll be going into the topic Invoice Management System. So this is a new facility they call. It is available in the GSTN portal. About this only, we are going to see in this edition of this Zentax Clinic's webinar. This is a 39th. Continuously, they have been holding this webinar for the past 39 weeks exactly on the same time. So this is also really a great achievement for this tech group to having a webinar organized without any interruption for so many weeks, and it should be appreciated. Now, yes, are you able to see this screen? What is the screen? In the screen, உங்களுக்கு வந்து எல்லாம் தெரியும்னு நினைக்கிறேன். இது வந்து என்ன அப்படின்னு பார்த்தோம் அப்படின்னோம்னா, இதுதான் வந்து என்ன பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் ஒரு இந்த இன்வாய்ஸ் மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் சிஸ்டத்துடைய ஒரு ஷார்ட் இது அப்படின்னு சொல்லலாம். ஏன் அப்படின்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா, லெஃப்ட்ல இருக்கிறவர் வந்து சப்ளையர், ரைட்ல இருக்கிறவர் வந்து ரெசிபியன்ட், நடுவுல யாரு? ரெண்டு பேருக்கும் நடுவுல ஒருத்தர் வெள்ளச்சட்டை போட்டுட்டு இருக்காரு. அவர் யாரு? சோ அவர் தான் டிபார்ட்மெண்ட். சோ என்ன சொல்ல வர்றாங்க? உங்களுக்குள்ள இருக்கிற பிரச்சனைகளை போர்ட்டல் மூலமா உங்களுக்கே நீங்களே முடிச்சு கொள்ளுங்கள் அப்படிங்கறதா வந்துட்டு இந்த இன்வாய்ஸ் மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் சிஸ்டத்தினுடைய ஒரு சாராம்சம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லலாம். சோ they enable the communication between the recipient and then supplier. இந்த சிஸ்டத்துல வந்து கொண்டுட்டு வர்றாங்க. எனக்கு வந்து இன்வாய்ஸ் வரல, நீ இன்வாய்ஸ் தப்பா போட்டுட்ட. ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி இஷ்யூஸ் எல்லாத்தையுமே வந்து ஹைலைட் பண்றதுக்காகத்தான் வந்து இந்த ஃபெசிலிட்டி கொடுத்துருக்காங்க அப்படின்னு சொல்லலாம். ஸோ பேசிக்கலா வந்து இட் இஸ் எ பேஸ் டு இன்ட்ராக்ட் வித் த ரெசிபியன்ட் அண்ட் தென் சப்ளையர் வித் ரிகார்ட் டு இன்வாய்சஸ். இதுக்கு உள்ள வந்துட்டு ஒரு ரெசிபியன்ட்டுக்கும் சப்ளையருக்கும் வந்துட்டு ஒரு லிங்க் வந்து உருவாக்குறாங்க இந்த புதுசா வந்து IMS மூலமாக. இப்ப இதுக்கு பார்க்கும்போது இதுக்கு முன்னாலேயுமே வந்து பார்த்தோம்னா ஜிஎஸ்டிஎன் போர்ட்டல்ல வந்து ஒரு எக்ஸிஸ்டிங் ஃபியூச்சர் இருந்துச்சு. அந்த இதுதான் என்ன அப்படின்னு கேட்டோம்னா வந்துட்டு அதுவும் வந்துட்டு கம்யூனிகேஷன் பிட்வீன் த ரிஜிஸ்டர்ட் பர்சன்ஸ். ஒரு ரெண்டு ரிஜிஸ்டர்ட் பர்சன்ஸ்க்குள்ள வந்துட்டு a communication can take place in the GSTN portal itself. So அந்த ஃபியூச்சர் வந்து ஏற்கனவே இருந்துச்சு. நம்ம வந்து எதையுமே வந்து பொதுவாக வந்து அந்த ஃபியூச்சர் வந்து யூஸ் பண்றது இல்லை. நிறைய பேர் வந்து அந்த ஃபியூச்சர் வந்து யூஸ் பண்றது இல்லை. அதாவது வந்து ஒரு கம்யூனிகேஷன் வந்து எதுக்காக அப்படிங்கறத வந்து பார்க்கும்போது இந்த ஃபியூச்சர் வந்து எங்க இருக்கு? ஆல்ரெடி இருக்கிற ஃபியூச்சர். இப்ப நம்ம வந்து புதுசா ஒரு IMSக்கு முன்னால வந்துட்டு ஏற்கனவே வந்து ஒரு ஃபியூச்சர் இதுல இருக்கு அப்படிங்கறத வந்துட்டு ஐ தாட் ஐ ஷுட் பிரிங் இட் டு யுவர் நோட்டீஸ். ஸோ இந்த ஃபியூச்சர் வந்து எங்க இருக்கு அப்படின்னு பார்த்தோம்னா, நீங்க வந்து ஜிஎஸ்டி போர்ட்டல் ஓபன் பண்ண பிறகு சர்வீசஸ், யூசர் சர்வீசஸ், கம்யூனிகேஷன் பிட்வீன் த டாக்ஸ் பேயர்ஸ். ஸோ இந்த இடத்துல வந்து ஏற்கனவே வந்து இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு ஆப்ஷன் இருக்குது. ஸோ ஏற்கனவே வந்து ஒரு ஆப்ஷன் இருக்குது. ஸோ அது கூட தான் அந்த ஆப்ஷன் வந்து எதற்காக அப்படின்னு பார்த்தோம் அப்படின்னோம்னா, இந்த ஆப்ஷன் வந்து எதற்காக அப்படின்னு பார்த்தோம்னா, ஒரு சில நேரங்கள்ல வந்துட்டு நம்ம வந்துட்டு நமக்கு வந்து அவங்க வந்து ஜிஎஸ்டி 1 ஃபைல் பண்ணாம இருக்கலாம், ஜிஎஸ்டிஆர் 1 ஃபைல் பண்ணாம இருக்கலாம், இல்ல 3B ஃபைல் பண்ணாம இருக்கலாம். ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி சிச்சுவேஷன்லாம் இருந்துச்சுன்னா அவங்க வந்து நீங்க வந்து கம்யூனிகேட் பண்றதுக்காக தான் இந்த ஒரு ஆப்ஷன் வந்து இருக்கு. பட் இது வந்து நம்ம வந்து செல்டம், அதாவது ரொம்ப ரொம்ப ரேரா தான் வந்து எல்லாருமே யூஸ் பண்றோம். இந்த மாதிரி நிறைய பேருக்கு வந்து ஒரு சில இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு ஆப்ஷன் இருக்குது அப்படிங்கிறது கூட தெரியாது அப்படின்னு தான் சொல்லலாம். ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி சிச்சுவேஷன்ல இந்த இடத்துல வந்து இந்த ஒரு ஆப்ஷன் கம்யூனிகேஷன் பிட்வீன் த டாக்ஸ் பேயர்ஸ் இருக்கு. இந்த ஸ்கிரீன் வந்து என்ன இருக்கும் அப்படின்னு பார்த்தோம்னா, இது வந்து கிட்டத்தட்ட வந்து ஒரு இமெயில் மாதிரியே இருக்கும். இமெயில் மாதிரியே லெஃப்ட்ல வந்து இன்பாக்ஸ், கம்போஸ், அவுட் பாக்ஸ். ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி வந்து ஒரு ஆப்ஷன் இருக்கும். இந்த ஆப்ஷன்ல போயிட்டு நீங்க வந்து கொடுக்கலாம். அவங்களுக்கு வந்துட்டு ஒரு இன்வாய்ஸ் வந்துட்டு அவங்க வந்து ஜிஎஸ்டிஆர் 1ல வந்து அப்லோட் பண்ணல, இல்லைன்னா வந்து ஜிஎஸ்டிஆர் 1ல வந்துட்டு ஒரு வேல்யூ தப்பா போட்டிருக்காங்க, அந்த மாதிரிலாம் வந்து ஒரு கம்ப்ளைண்ட் இருந்துச்சு. ஏன்னா வந்து ஜிஎஸ்டிஆர் 1ல வந்துட்டு அவங்க வந்து உங்களோட இன்வாய்ஸ் வந்து அப்லோட் பண்ணலைன்னா 2Bல வராது, உங்களுக்கு வந்து கிரெடிட் கிடைக்காது. ஸோ நீங்க வந்து இந்த ஒரு கிரிவன்ஸ் வந்து இஃப் யூ வாண்ட் டு பிரிங் இட் டு த நோட்டீஸ் ஆஃப் த ஒரு சப்ளையர் த்ரூ த போர்ட்டலே நம்ம வந்து பண்ண முடியும். ஸோ இதுக்கு தான் வந்துட்டு ஏற்கனவே வந்து கம்யூனிகேஷன் பிட்வீன் த டாக்ஸ் பேயர்ஸ் அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு ஆப்ஷன் கொடுத்திருந்தாங்க. இது போக இப்ப புதுசா கொண்டுட்டு வர்றதுதான் வந்துட்டு என்ன அப்படின்னு பார்க்கும்போது தான் இன்வாய்ஸ் மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் சிஸ்டம், ஆர் இன் ஷார்ட்டா வந்து ஐஎம்எஸ் அப்படின்னு சொல்றோம். ஸோ இந்த ஐஎம்எஸ் வந்து எதற்காக அப்படின்னு அவங்க சொல்லும் போது, பழையபடி வந்து கம்யூனிகேஷன் ப்ராசஸ் பிட்வீன் த சப்ளையர் அண்ட் ரெசிபியன்ட். ஸோ இவங்க ரெண்டு பேருக்குள்ள வந்து ஒரு கம்யூனிகேஷன் வந்து எஸ்டாப்ளிஷ் பண்றதுக்காக தான் இந்த இன்வாய்ஸ் மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் சிஸ்டம் அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு ஆப்ஷன் வந்து இப்போ வந்து கொண்டுட்டு வர்றாங்க. ஸோ இன்வாய்ஸ் கரெக்ஷன்ஸ், அமெண்ட்மெண்ட்ஸ், இது எல்லாத்தையுமே வந்து த்ரூ த போர்ட்டல் வந்து அட்ரஸ் பண்றதுக்காக தான் வந்து இந்த இன்வாய்ஸ் மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் சிஸ்டம் அப்படிங்கிறது இப்ப கொண்டுட்டு வந்திருக்காங்க அப்படின்னு வந்து சொல்றாங்க. சோ அப்படி பார்க்கும்போது நம்ம வாட் ஆர் அவர் ஆப்ளிகேஷன்ஸ் அண்ட் தென் ஹவு வி ஹேவ் டு டூ தட் அப்படின்னு பார்க்கிறதுக்கு நவ் தே ஹவ் brought in this new provision or new facility I can call as a invoice management system. So invoice management is a facility now provided in the portal with regard to uploaded invoices and how we are going to use it and then how we should use it. That is what we are going to see in this session of the webinar. So in the earlier screen we have seen to enable the taxpayers amendments, address invoice corrections and amendments with the suppliers through the portal. So whenever the amendments means when a person is uploaded that invoice, can the recipient amend that invoice? No. See, actually you might have purchased for 1 lakh. He has wrongly included it as 10 lakhs. Can you amend it? You cannot amend it. You cannot amend it. So what are the changes that you can do? இந்த ஐஎம்எஸ் மூலமாக என்ன செய்ய முடியும் அப்படின்னா வந்துட்டு as a recipient accept the uploaded invoice, reject the uploaded invoice, keep the uploaded invoice pending in the system. இந்த மூணு ஆப்ஷன் தான் வந்து உங்களுக்கு கிடைக்கும். So for the recipient these 3 options only can be taken. See here now already I told he has uploaded an invoice for 10 lakhs instead of 1 lakh. You cannot make correct that invoice into 1 lakh. You cannot correct it to 1 lakh because he has inflated the figure as 10 lakhs. Only thing is you can reject that invoice. So this is one of the method in which the system is going to work in future. When this facility will be available in the portal. See, they have given an advisory. All I am talking only from the advisory given by the GSTN portal. So we have to test it when the real facility is made available in this portal itself. So, ஏன்னா வந்து நம்ம வந்து இங்க வந்து படிக்கிறது வேற மாதிரி இருக்கும், போர்ட்டல்ல வந்து வாட் தே ஆர் கோயிங் டு கிவ் அப்படிங்கிறது வந்து கொஞ்சம் வந்து வித்தியாசமாக இருக்கும். So that can be some different from what is advisory. Advisory may be very in a synopsis of what they are going to propose, but in the proposal, in the actual implementation, there could be some changes. But there cannot be any major deviation from what is proposed as an advisory. So now we are, whatever I am telling, it is based on the advisory given by the GSTN portal. So far, they have not given. Yes. Sorry for the interruption. There is a small technical issue. Hope you. So whatever I talk is from that advisory. That can be some changes or alteration when the portal actually comes into use. How this facility works. See how this facility works. Suppliers, as you will be aware, suppliers need not wait till the end of the month to upload their invoices. They can save the invoices on a day-to-day basis. So they can save the invoices in the GSTR1 on day-to-day basis. As soon as the invoice is saved, not the uploading of GSTR1, only saving this in the portal. The suppliers, whenever they save that invoice, that will be made available. That will be made available in the dashboard. That will be made available in the IMS dashboard of the recipient. So as soon as he says, it will be going to the dashboard of the supplier, where you can find this dashboard, IMS dashboard, where you can find in the portal. So you can find by navigating through these three areas. First, you have to choose dashboard, then you have to choose returns option. In that, you will be having a IMS dashboard. This is the thing as per the advisory given by the GSTN portal. So through this, you can attend this or you can navigate through this IMS dashboard. Now you know where to go. Then what will be the contents or what will be the contents of this IMS dashboard? This is the sample. This is the sample given in the advisory. This is the sample given in the advisory. So first, your GST number and everything. See, actually, they gave an advisory first initial stages. In that, the legal name was given as the Reliance Industries Limited. So they found out the mistake and then they went back and then erased those Reliance Industries words and then they have given the revised advisory. So in the revised advisory, you will not find that Reliance Industries Limited name. So the GST number of the supplier will be displayed and then the trade name will be displayed, their invoice will be displayed, and then you will be having three options. So accept, reject, or keep it pending. So three options are there in the portal itself. So option, you cannot take two options. Only you can choose one option. Either you have to accept it, reject it, or keep it pending. Keep it pending. So these are all the three actions that can be taken by you in the IMS portal or IMS facility. So what is the date up to which the recipient can do these actions? What is the date up to which the recipient can do these actions? So the recipient can change or do the actions till the recipient is filing the GSTR 3B, not the supplier. Supplier has uploaded. See, either he has saved it or he has even filed his GSTR1. But the options can be chosen by the recipient till he files his GSTR 3B. So this is the time limit up to which he has got the right to make his options clear. But once he files his GSTR 3B, he cannot change it to other mode also. What is the amount that will be getting populated in GSTR 3B? See, whenever you are filing the GSTR 3B, the data will be getting auto-populated there. So once when you are coming into this IMS, though, what will be the amount that will be getting reflected in the GST, in this GSTR 3B? your accepted invoice, only your accepted invoice will be coming into the GSTR 3B. So I have given an example. ABC Limited has purchased a car. So ITC on the purchase of car is a block credit under section 17, subsection 5. Now it is very difficult to convince the department that you are not claimed the ITC. But now in the IMS, you can reject that so that the credit will not flow to your portal. So credit will not flow to your GSTR 3B. So by rejecting, you are actually foregoing that ITC. So in this way, according to this advisory, this system will be working. So only the accepted invoices, அதாவது நீங்க வந்து எதுனா அக்செப்ட்னு கொடுத்தது மட்டும்தான் இங்க வந்து ஃப்ளோ ஆகும். இங்க வந்து deemed acceptance னு ஒரு கான்செப்ட். Deemed acceptance. What do you mean by deemed acceptance? See, I already saw you are given 3 options. One is accept, reject, or keep pending. Keep it pending. 3 options are there. So you have to choose any one option. If you do not choose this one option, then automatically it will be deemed that you are accepting that invoice. Either you are rejecting or nothing, you are accepting that. So that is how this system works. It is a deemed acceptance. You are not taking any one of the action. That means you are entirely accepting the what is populated in the IMS. So that is the very, very important or crucial step in this area. Then this is made visible to the supplier also. As a recipient, see, he has saved his invoice and then you are rejecting it. This fact will be known by the supplier also, known to the supplier. So this data that you have rejected as a recipient will be populated to the supplier also. So that is the very, very important thing. So the supplier also can see the action taken by the recipient. It is a two-way communication. Once it flows from the supplier, then it flows back from the recipient to the supplier regarding the action taken by the recipient. Here we have to see GSTR 1A form. So what is a GSTR 1A form? So this was introduced from July 2024 tax period. July 2024 tax period. So what is the purpose of this GSTR 1A form? Suppose you omitted some invoices at the time of filing GSTR 1, then you can rectify it. You can add that in the GSTR 1A. See, you can make amendments after filing GSTR 1, but before filing GSTR 3B. So this is an option given to the supplier who is filing this GSTR 1. Why this option is there? Suppose a person has given that value as 1 lakh in the GSTR 1, but the actual supply value may be 5 lakhs. So here, instead of 5 lakhs, he has wrongly put it as 1 lakh. So he wants to pay the tax extra at the time of GSTR filing 3B itself. So he can use this GSTR 1A form. So whenever instead of 1 lakh, if he puts the figure as 3 lakh, his outward liability will get increased in GSTR 3B. So there will not be any short payment at the time of making the GSTR 3B payment. So that is the advantage for GSTR 1A form. So when GSTR 1 can be filed, so when the GSTR 1 option will get enabled in the portal. So after filing the GSTR 1 or due date, whichever is later, you will be aware of the fact GSTR 1 has to be filed on or before 11th, GSTR 1. So if they are filing at 7th, you will be having the option to file GSTR 1 after 11th only. After 11th only. Even though you found out mistake on 8th, you will be having an option to open this GSTR 1A after the due date only. But the GSTR 1A cannot be used to change the GSTN, GST number. You cannot change the GST number using the GSTR 1A. Only the values and other things or HSN can be changed or tax amount can be changed, but not the GST number can be changed in GSTR 1A form. Why this I am bringing in this GSTR 1A form at this juncture? in the invoice management system. So why this is, if at all an invoice is amended by using GSTR 1A by the supplier, the amended invoice will flow into the invoice management system. Amended invoice will flow into the invoice management system. Okay. So this is the thing. As I say, because if the due date is over, this amended invoice GST ITC will flow to the recipient through B in the next month only. It will flow to them in the next month only. For example, on the first at the time, as I mentioned, they were given the invoice wrongly as 1 lakh. So to the extent of 1 lakh ITC will flow for the current month. The excess 4 lakhs that will flow to the recipient in the next month. Those things will also be populated. Why I am mentioning? So whatever the getting in the IMS is not restricted to your GSTR 1. Whatever the amendments made by the supplier also will be known to the recipient in the invoice management system dashboard. So that will be populated there also. That amendment also will be getting populated. Now we have got time limit for claiming the ITC. Time limit for claiming the ITC. So actually, there are some relaxation even in the Finance Act, Finance Number 2 Act. There has been relaxation for claiming the ITC for the earlier periods. Earlier to this amendment, it was up to the return filing month of September. Now it has been extended up to 30th November. So 30th November, 16/4, you have to claim that ITC before the 30th November of the succeeding year. For example, the financial year is for 23-24. You have to claim all the ITC relating to 23-24 before 30th November. So after that, you will not be eligible to claim those earlier years ITC. There are disputes whether it has to be strictly followed or can any relaxation given. Courts are persons are fighting in the court. That is a different issue. But this is the time limit stipulated for claiming ITC. Why this time limit is important in invoice management system? Invoice management system. As we see, as we already I mentioned, there are 3 options: accept, reject, or keep it pending. Keep it pending abdina, so that credit will flow to the next month. So credit will flow whenever you want, you can utilize it. But this utilization in the subsequent period, they are not specified. In the next month itself, it has to be claimed. If you keep that ITC pending, you can claim it any of the subsequent period, but that subsequent period shall not exceed the time limit specified under section 16(4). 16 subsection 4. So that is very, very important, because you are going to keep an invoice pending. You cannot, postpone your eligibility to take the ITC, or you cannot cross the bar created by section 16(4). So you have to be very, very specific, and then you must ensure that you are taking the ITC within the 30th November following the end of the financial year. So this is very, very important with regard to time limit and also invoice management system. See, the next question is, GSTR 2B has been generated. GSTR 2B is made available to the recipients on 14th morning. On 14th morning, GST is generated. But IMS permits, IMS permits the recipient to reject or make any amendments to the already populated invoice in the IMS facility. So what happens to the action taken from that period? What happens to that period? See, for example, you are getting 14th, you are getting the GSTR 2B. GSTR 2B, you are getting the ITC populated. but you can amend it up to the date of filing. Say you are filing on 20th. So till the date, you can take or you can amend that what is the invoice populated in GSTR invoice management facility. Invoice management facility. So what is the fate of that if you are making an amendment in that period? Already, for example, ITC has come to say 50 lakhs. But after that, within that period, from 14th to 20th, that is before filing, in that 50 lakhs, you want to reject some 5 lakhs. So what will happen to that rejection of 5 lakhs? What will be happening to rejection of 5 lakhs? This is the advisory given. If any action is taken after 14th of the month, then he has to recompute his GSTR 2B. In the example given, GSTR 2B has populated an ITC of 50 lakhs, but within 14th to 20th, he rejects 5 lakhs. So he has to recompute his GSTR ITC eligibility as 45 lakhs. So this is very, very important. Whenever if you are going to make any amendment in the IMS facility within this period, then naturally the corresponding ITC has to be reduced in your claim in GSTR 3B. See, this is one of the, I think, in my opinion, one of the most irritating feature are in the proposed system as per this advisory. So we have to see how this will be getting corrected in the actual when the system or when the IMS facility comes into effect. So what is this important or irritating feature I can say? See, you have taken one invoice, you have accepted it, but subsequently, before filing the ITR, see, as soon as the saving, see on 15th, a supplier X Limited has raised an invoice. 15th, X has raised an invoice. So it is making available to the recipient Y. But before filing GSTR 1, this X alters this invoice. Means your action of accepting or rejecting will not have any effect. The amended invoice again will come in the IMS. Amended invoice will come under the invoice according to this advisory. So it actually makes, in my opinion, it makes a mockery. நம்ம வந்து இதுவரைக்கும் அதை வந்து அக்செப்ட் பண்ணி அதை பார்த்து ரிஜெக்ட் பண்ணதை எல்லாத்தையும் வந்து ஒரு கேலி கூத்தான மாதிரி ஆயிரும். ஏன்னா வாட் எவர் ஆக்ஷன்ஸ் already when the GST 2A came, we were not able to find out the date when the supplier was uploading the invoices. Now the same issue will come, in my opinion. So we have to wait for the portal, see how this is going to be reflected. At least your accepted or rejected invoice has been amended. A separate portal will come or separate information should be populated. If it is not populated, then it will lead to chaos only. But this option, or they are specifically mentioned, whenever the supplier alters the saved invoice before filing that in the GSTR 1, the amended invoice only will come in the, will be reflected in the invoice management system of the recipient. So this is going to be having a wider ramification. We have to wait for the correct system is populated. Then another important aspect as per this advisory, is if you are not filing GSTR 3B for the subsequent month, your GST 2B will not be generated. So you have to file, you can do it everything sequentially only. So without filing GSTR 2B, you will not be able to find out what is your eligibility for ITC in the absence of GSTR 2B. So here the filing of the GSTR 3B assumes very, very crucial. QRMP taxpayers. See, this is a benefit given by the government. Usually you have to file the return monthly. So, but for the taxpayers who have got their aggregate turnover in the preceding year up to 5 crores, they can opt for quarterly return filing. Every month instead of filing GST 3B, they can opt for quarterly return filing, and then but monthly they have to make the payment. Monthly they have got some system of making a system of payment, say 35%, whatever the amount in the M1 and then M2 and then balance in that last quarter. All these or simplified measures are given for this QRMP taxpayers, because up to 5 crores they are considered as a small traders or small businesses. So for them, some concessions or benefits are given in the return filing procedures. And similarly, instead of uploading GSTR 1, they can have got a system called IFF, Invoice Furnishing Facilities. See, they may not furnish all the invoices generated by them. They can invoice, choose, say, I will be filing the furnishing the details for such and such supplier only. And then all the other persons I did not supply. So in the entire invoice I did not file. See, because when the quarterly system was introduced, there was a hue and cry from the recipient. They are filing the thing quarterly, so we are not able to get the credit on a monthly basis. So for this purpose, this simplified invoice furnishing facility was also introduced for the small traders or small business people having a turnover up to 5 crores. What is the impact of this QRMP on IMS? So IMS, whatever the invoice furnished in IFF, also similar to GSTR1 are saving, or see, even they save the QRMP dealers, whenever they save that invoice, that also will get populated in IMS, Invoice Management System, it will get populated. So the same logic as applied for a monthly taxpayer applies for the QRMP persons also. So QRMP person, immediately this will be getting reflected. What are the effect of your 3 actions? See, I told there are only three actions you can do in the IMS. So Invoice Management System, only you can do 3 options. First is accept. Accept. So whenever you do the accept, what it means? It means ITC available in the GSTR 2B. It will be GSTR 2B. It will get auto-populated into GSTR 2B. Then rejected records will become part of ITC rejected. So this rejected, whenever you are rejecting, that will not flow to GSTR 2B. Then pending records will remain in IMS dashboard till the same is accepted or rejected. So this pending will be kept. So for example, you are eligible to take ITC only when goods are received. Suppose for this invoice, the goods are not received, you can keep it pending and then you can claim it whenever the goods are received. So these are all the actions you can take. But this will have a great implication in filing GSTR 3B. Because now GSTR 3B, whenever you are taking the ITC, you have to take the whole ITC, then you have to deduct it from it, the ITC, blocked ITC or ITC not eligible under Rule 42, that is proportionate reversal. You have got an exempted supply and then taxable supply, you have to proportionately reverse that under Rule 42. All those things have to be reduced and then only you can take it to your credit ledger. But whenever it is not getting floated or coming into 2B, so how we will be able to show what are the items for which you are not taking the credit? So that is becoming a very question mark. That also again we have to wait. But this is the guidance or advisory given in the portal. See, the situations, there are some situations where this pending cannot be used. Pending option cannot be used in some of the situation. One is original credit note. See, why this pending action cannot be taken? See, whenever the credit note is given, it means the supplier has reduced his tax liability. So supplier, see, section 34 talks about the credit note and then what are the situations giving the credit note. So in that situation, whenever a supplier giving the credit note, that means he is reducing his tax liability. So in similar manner, you are expected to accept and then you have to reverse this ITC. So for that purpose, For that purpose, you cannot use the pending use for the credit note purpose. So that is the logic. Why the pending you cannot be used in the for credit notes. Then subsequently, upward amendment in the credit note, irrespective of action taken. See, already he has given a credit note for 5 lakhs. Now he amends that credit note and then he gives the amendments to the extent of 2 lakhs, extra 2 lakhs. So that means you are having a additional credit of 2 lakhs. So again, that has to be reduced from your ITC. So for that, any upward amendment also cannot be taken to the pending list. Pending, you cannot keep it pending in the portal, these options. Then downward amendment. Say downward amendment, if you are rejected, again downward amendment in credit note also cannot be keep it pending. So again, downward amendment invoice. See, they can give a revised invoice or debit note or downward. See, if they are giving a debit note, increasing the value, that means they are the supplier is going to charge you tax. So that is not applicable. Only whenever they have raised an invoice, say for 5 lakhs, a debit note is given for 1 lakh. So that means he is reducing his liability, and also you are also expected to reduce your ITC whenever a downward amendment is given for an invoice. For these purposes, you cannot keep the pending this in 4 situations. There are some supplies that will not come in IMS. One is reverse charge supplies. See, whenever you are filing, a person is filing a GSTR1, then he has to indicate whether tax is payable under forward charge or reverse charge. They have to give yes or no. So this reverse charge, for example, a GTA will be putting, it is chargeable under reverse charge. Yes, they will be putting it as yes. So that will not come into IMS at all. That will not come into IMS. And supplies where ITC is not eligible due to section 16(4). So suppose a person is a supplier is raising or putting in GSTR1 the invoices for the previous year after November. Naturally, the supplier, the recipient cannot claim that ITC because it is barred by section 16(4). So that ITC also will not be coming in the IMS. And similarly, place of supply rules. For example, a company MD is going on a trip. A company is located in Coimbatore. The MD goes to Delhi, and then Delhi, that hotel will be raising the bill only CGST and the SGST, but that ITC is not eligible due to place of supply rules. That invoice also will not come in the IMS. See, another important issue is the person has put that in saved invoice, but he has not filed his GSTR1. But in the saved invoice, that amount is getting reflected. Can you say, see, that person has put it or populated, it is getting populated in my IMS. So I will be taking the credit on the basis of IMS. It is not possible. See, IMS is not a substitute for GSTR2B as of now. IST is not a substitute for GSTR2B. Though it is getting populated in IMS, only when he files his GSTR2B and then it is getting populated there, you will be entitled for ITC. Since mainly because it is getting reflected, but still the person has not filed GSTR1, you cannot claim the ITC. That is very, very crucial thing, has to be seen. But this is one of the advisory given. All accepted, deemed accepted, and the rejected records will move out of IMS dashboard after filing of the respective GSTR 3B. So as soon as the GSTR 3B is filed, only the kept pending records will be there in the IMS. So whenever it moves out of it, or it should be available month-wise. What are the items rejected and then what are ones accepted? All these details should be available for us in future verification. But they say it will move out of it. Suppose everything is deemed accepted and then everything goes out of it, we cannot find what are the invoices populated there. And also, we are rejecting it. We cannot fully and then go and tell the department, yes, I already rejected it. Whether these details will be available or not, it is not known. But in my opinion, if they say it will move out of the dashboard, then we cannot substantiate it to the department. I have already rejected. In the car example, I told you can substantiate it. But when we come to here, we find it is very, very difficult to substantiate our claim also. This is very, very important. So, invoice, see, ultimately, as I mentioned, that was a boxing incident between the supplier and the recipient. You are acting to as, so government doesn't want to come into that. What happens? What happens when the credit note is rejected? See, credit note, see, the supplier has given a credit note for 1 lakh. The tax rate is 18,000. So, naturally, the supplier will be reducing from his tax liability to the extent of 18,000. But this credit note is rejected by the recipient, means the recipient is not accepting this credit note and then he is not going to reverse his ITC. That means this will flow to the supplier as his increased liability. So the recipient has rejected this credit note. So you cannot reduce the tax liability using the credit note since it has been rejected by the recipient. So this will go to increase the tax liability of the supplier. So government wants that there should be a corresponding reduction in the ITC taken. If the ITC taken is not rejected, then the supplier has to pay the same. Now there is a circular has been given, how that has to be accounted, whether it has to be, then they are given a circular or certificate like that. But when the IMS comes, whenever there is a rejection, actually it will go into the go to the supplier as an enhanced outward tax payable. Just like that. See, some of the things where you cannot use an option of keep it pending. These items, if it is rejected, naturally that will increase the liability of the supplier. Upward amendment of the credit note. See, upward amendment, already mentioned, the credit note originally given for 5 lakhs, subsequently another credit note, enhancing that or making amendment to the already given credit note to 7 lakhs. So they are giving an additional discount of say 2 lakhs. For the 2 lakhs, they have to, the recipient has to reverse the ITC. Recipient has to reverse the ITC to that extent of additional 2 lakhs. But he is not reducing it. He is simply rejecting that additional 2 lakhs. That means again the liability of the supplier will get increased due to this rejection by the recipient. Just like that downward amendment, a downward amendment in the invoice. Say the revised invoice, original invoice is given for say 10 lakhs. But the revised invoice is given for 4 lakhs because it was a excess claim or there was a rate difference or anything. So naturally, the supplier will be paying only for 4 lakhs. But he has to, the recipient has to reverse his ITC. But if he is not reversing and then he is rejecting it, naturally, there has to be a flow from the side of the supplier. For this purpose, any downward amendment of invoice will naturally increase the liability of the supplier. These are all some of my thoughts or some of the points that I observed when going through the advisory given by the GSTN with regard to the new facility that is going to come for the people. So this is the thing. Now I hand over the proceeding. Thank you. Thanks for all. Now I am invite the co-speaker Prem to give his views and he'll be taking with us regarding the tally. And then after that, let us have a question and answer session. Thank you. Thank you for all. for your happy listening.
Ma'am, voice is audible?
Yes, voice is audible. Audible, Prem. Audible.
Okay, sir. Hi, sir. Good evening.
Good
evening, team. Sir, எனக்கு latest release 5.0 வந்திருக்கு. So myself, Prem from Prem Infotech. We are a Tally 5-star partner. So before launch முன்னாடி பார்த்தீங்கன்னா PPT ஷோ பண்ணக்கூடாதுன்னு ஒரு சின்ன இன்ஸ்ட்ரக்ஷன்ஸ், அதனால தான் வந்து நான் ஷோ பண்ணல. ஜஸ்ட் இன்னைக்கு ஓவரலாக மட்டும் என்னென்ன ஆப்ஷன் அப்படிங்கிறது மட்டும் நான் சொல்லிடுறேன். தென் நெக்ஸ்ட் லான்ச்சுக்கு அப்புறம் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா டீட்டெயில்டு செஷன் வந்து நான் உங்களுக்கு வந்து எல்லாத்துக்கும் நான் டெமோ கொடுக்குறேன். ஸோ ஃபர்ஸ்ட் பார்த்தீங்க அப்படின்னா என்னென்ன ஃபீச்சர்ஸ் அப்படிங்கிறது சொல்லிடுறேன். ஸோ லான்ச் வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா கம்மிங் 12th வந்து லான்ச் பண்ணுறாங்க. ஸோ ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வந்து Tally 5.0 வந்து பார்த்தீங்க அப்படின்னா GSTN நம்ம லெஜர்ஸ் வந்து நம்ம ஜிஎஸ்டி நம்பர் மூலமே வந்து நம்ம கிரியேட் பண்ணிக்கலாம். ஸோ GSTN நம்பர் இருந்தால் போதும். ஸோ ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்காக வந்து நம்ம வந்து கிரியேட் பண்ணுறது வந்து ஃபர்ஸ்ட் அவங்களுடைய கம்பெனி நேம் இருந்தால், அதாவது ஜிஎஸ் நம்பர் இருந்தால் போதும். டேலியில் வந்து லெஜர் நேம், அட்ரஸ் எல்லாமே வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா உங்களுக்கு ஈஸியாக வந்து கிரியேட் ஆயிரும். ஸோ இது ஒரு ஆப்ஷன்ஸ் கொடுத்துருக்காங்க. தென் வந்து ஜிஎஸ்டி ரிட்டர்ன் ஃபைலிங் நீங்கள் டேலியிலிருந்தே வந்து பார்த்தீங்க அப்படின்னா ரிட்டர்ன் வந்து நம்ம ஃபைல் பண்ணிக்க முடியும். ஸோ GSTR 1 தென் வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா 3B வந்து நம்ம ஃபைல் பண்ண முடியும். இதுலேருந்து நார்மலாக வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இதுக்கு முன்னாடி வந்து என்ன பண்ணுவோம்னா நம்ம JSON ஃபைல் எடுத்து நம்ம அப்லோட் பண்ணுவோம். ஸோ அந்த ஃபைல் இப்போ என்னன்னா டைரெக்டாக நம்ம லாகின் ஜிஎஸ்டி லாகின் கொடுத்தோம் அப்படின்னா ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்காக வந்து நம்ம போர்ட்டலில் போயிடும். ஸோ ஒன்ஸ் ஓடிபி நமக்கு வந்துடும். ஸோ இதுலேருந்து என்னென்னா நீங்கள் வந்து போர்ட்டல் போகணும் அப்படிங்கிறது கிடையாது, ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்காக நீங்கள் ரிட்டர்ன் வந்து ஃபைல் பண்ணலாம். தென் வந்து பார்த்தீங்க அப்படின்னா GSTR 3B, ஸோ அந்த ரிட்டர்ன் ஃபைலிங்ஸும் பண்ணிக்கலாம். இந்த பண்ணினது வந்து பார்த்தீங்க அப்படின்னா நம்ம டவுன்லோட்ஸும் நம்ம பண்ணி வச்சுக்க முடியும். ஸோ நம்ம போர்ட்டலாகவே டவுன்லோட் பண்ணுங்கிறதுல டேலிலேருந்தே நம்ம டவுன்லோட் பண்ணிக்கலாம். தென் 2A 2B ரெகன்சிலேஷனும் இதில் நம்ம கொடுக்குறாங்க. ஸோ 2A 2B ரெகன்சிலேஷன் வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா டேலியிலிருந்து நம்ம JSON ஃபைல் நம்ம போர்ட்டல்லேருந்து இம்போர்ட் பண்ணும்போது ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்காக எது எதில் போர்ட்டல் இருக்குது டேலியில் இல்லை அப்படிங்கிற இன்ஃபர்மேஷன்ஸ் எல்லாமே நம்ம வந்து பார்த்துக்கலாம். ஸோ ஜிஎஸ்டி ரிலேட்டடாக எல்லா அப்டேட்ஸும் கொடுத்துருக்காங்க. தென் அதுக்கப்புறம் வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா நார்மலாக வந்து ப்ராடக்ட்ஸில் நான் ஜிஎஸ்டி இல்லாமல் எங்களுக்கு என்ன சார் பெனிஃபிட் இருக்குது அப்டேட் பண்ணன்னு பார்த்தீங்க அப்படின்னா ப்ராடக்ட் ரிலேட்டடாக செக்யூரிட்டி ரிலேட்டடாக அப்டேட்ஸ் கொடுத்துருக்காங்க. தென் வந்து இந்த ஸ்ட்ரைப் லைன் வியூஸு, பில் வைஸ் டீட்டெயில்ஸ்ல வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா அவுட்ஸ்டாண்டிங்ல வந்து நம்ம ஏஜ் வைஸ் எடுப்போம். ஸோ அது வந்து நமக்கு ஏற்ற மாதிரி வந்து நம்ம செட் பண்ணிக்க முடியும். ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி நிறைய ஆப்ஷன்ஸ் வந்து நம்ம கொடுத்துருக்காங்க. ஸோ இதனுடைய எல்லா வீடியோஸும் வந்து நான் குரூப்ல வந்து ஷேர் பண்றேன். ஸோ தேங்க்யூ ஃபார் த ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி சார். அண்ட் டீட்டெயில்டு செஷன் வந்து நெக்ஸ்ட் டைம் வந்து நான் உங்களுக்கு இது பண்ண சொல்றேன் சார். தேங்க்யூ.
Thank you, Prem.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. See, some of the first one is first there's a question regarding GSTR 1A. GSTR 1A, sir, what all we shall amend under GSTR 1A return, sir? See, GSTR 1A, except the GSTN, you can amend everything. Except GSTR 1, you can amend everything. The GST portal, they have given a GST advisory, they have given a very, very long, detailed method how change has to be happen. See, whenever you want to insert a new invoice or whenever you want to amend an existing invoice, the different you have to give all those details that has been given. So you can amend everything except the GST. The supplier name or supplier cannot be amended. Sir, since the amendments happened before filing GST or 3B, why the postponement of ITC to the next month? See, since the amendments happened before filing GST to the 3B, not that amendments are not happening. See, amendments happen, but those amendments will be affecting the GST ITC populated in GSTR 3B, 2B, GSTR 2B. See, for example, you have got the time to reject an invoice in the IMS prior to filing GSTR 3B. So, for example, as I mentioned, ITC is getting populated for 50 lakhs in your GSTR 2B. But after getting populated, you find that you are going to reject a claim of 5 lakhs. For example, a car purchase. So a car purchase, you are going to reject it. Naturally, you cannot take that ITC. So for that purpose, so this amendment, so this is not postponement of ITC. You are entirely foregoing that ITC, which has been populated through GSTR 2B. So that is the thing. See, if an invoice is accidentally rejected, will it be possible to revoke? Yes, you can revoke it prior to filing GSTR 3B. You can reject, you can amendment it, you can revoke it. Sir, when a supplier raises an invoice and the purchaser rejects it, what is the status in that? There is no way supplier can re-amend. Say, actually, in the GST system, you cannot amend an invoice raised. You can never amend an invoice raised. In my opinion, the only route is through a debit note or credit note. The origin document is the invoice. That invoice cannot be amended. So there's no question of amending the invoice. Only thing is you can change it through giving a debit note or credit note. If, even in 1A, GSTR 1A, how it will work? Suppose the invoice is that. So invoice is raised for 10 lakhs. Invoice is raised for 10 lakhs. But in feeding, it has been mentioned as 15 lakhs. So that can be changed to extra 5 lakhs that can be reduced. But the total invoice as such cannot be changed. Invoice, the tax invoice, it is a defined term in GST, that is a sacrosanct. So what should be the contents of the tax invoice? That can never be amended or that can never be corrected. So that cannot be done. Whether pending claim will auto disappear if we fail to take ITC within the, yes, in my opinion, see, as I mentioned, I'm telling all those things from the advisory given. Advisory is a 4-page document that is given by the GST Portal. So on the basis of this only, I'm telling. So once if you lose the right to take the ITC within the time specified under 16.4, அதாவது 16.4ல வந்து நீங்க வந்து எந்த டயத்துக்குள்ள எடுக்கணும்னு சொல்லியிருக்காங்க 30th November. அந்த இதுக்குள்ள எடுக்காம நீங்க வந்து அதை வந்து பெண்டிங் அப்படின்னீங்கன்னா naturally it will disappear from the IMS facility only. And also it will be useful, I think in my opinion, it will be a very, very useful thing because see, you will be knowing that ITC that you keep it pending and then that time you will be able to identify and then take the corrective action of taking the ITC prior to the time limit specified under section 16.4. 16.4ல வந்து சொல்லியிருக்கிற டைம் லிமிட் மிகாமல் நம்ம வந்து ஐடிசி எடுக்கிறது வந்து அது உதவியாக இருக்கும் தான் நான் நினைக்கிறேன். ஸோ ஐடிசி பெண்டிங் அப்படிங்கிறதுல வந்து லிஸ்ட் எடுத்தீங்க அப்படின்னா அந்த ஐஎம்எஸ்ல இருந்து எடுத்தீங்கன்னா ஏன்னா அது வந்து ஃபில்டர் ஆப்ஷன் எல்லாமே இருக்கும். இது வந்து எந்த பீரியடுக்குள்ள இன்வாய்ஸ் பார்த்துட்டு நீங்க வந்து அந்த டைம் லிமிட் கூட எடுப்பதற்கு உங்களுக்கு வந்து உதவியாக இருக்கும். Sir, you mentioned earlier that it is if it is not rejected, then it will be assumed as accepted. What is then where is the scope for keeping it pending? See, what I mean is, see, 3 options are given: accept, reject, or keep it pending. So when you are not going to take any action, system will presume you are accepting that. Then it will flow into your 2B. So in the 2B, you can make that. In the GST 3B, you can make adjustments for that. So this means the entire thing is eligible, and then you can make the alteration in your GST 3B. See how to rectify accept or reject option. See, accept or reject option. If you are taken by mistake before 3B filing, you can make the amendments to that. You can make the amendments to the thing, and then you can take the ITC. After filing GSTR 3B, whether GSTR 1A amendment return can be done? No, it cannot be done. GSTR 1A can be filed till you file your GSTR 3B. So after filing GSTR 3B, you cannot file the GSTR 1A. The next question is acceptance or rejection in IMS manually or bulk upload. See, in my opinion, they have not specified anything as far as when I went through all those things, but there must be some bulk upload option there should be bulk upload option. So if these are all the parameters, if these are all the GST numbers, then it should be accepted. There should be some criteria they must give. Then this is the thing, when we get the actual usage only, we will be able to find out this bulk option is there or not. Yeah, this is a very important question. GST to be legalized as per section 16.4. Yes, 16.4. They have introduced a clause. Whatever you are coming in the GST 2B only, you can claim it as an ITC. So, what is the link between our IMS system is a stop to check for 2B. Actually, in my opinion, this IMS is putting a bar, or it is restricting the amount that will be getting into GSTR 2B. So that is the important idea. But where in GSTR 3B, you have to mandatorily give the details of your ITC. You have to show the total ITC 4A, and then you have to show the ITC in that you are not claiming separately. According to the rule 42 also, the common ITC reversal and everything has been shown is separately, but in a summary manner in the GSTR 3B. So 42 talks about how to apportion the common credit, or what are the eligible, ineligible credit, that has to be shown separately in the GSTR 3B as per the rule. But once this, if you are going to reject in the IMS and it is not getting populated into GSTR 2B, then legally we will not be following the rule 42 disclosure requirements. So this is an issue that has to be addressed, that has to be seen. So then actually they have to amend the GSTR 3B so that only you are showing your eligible credit, but ineligible credit you are rejecting in IMS. See, car own use, factory use, business use, இந்த மாதிரி எந்த கிரைட்டீரியாவும் கிடையாது. எக்ஸப்ட் இஃப் த கார் இஸ் யூஸ் ஃபார் என்ன சொல்ல ஒரு டிரைவிங் ஸ்கூலு ஏன்னா அந்த மாதிரி யூஸ் இருந்தாலே ஒழிய இது ஈவன் நீங்க ஃபுல் அண்ட் ஃபுல் உங்களுடைய கம்பெனிக்காக தான் யூஸ் பண்றீங்க. ஒரு கார் கம்பெனியுடைய ஜிஎம்க்கு தான் கொடுத்துருக்கீங்க. அவர் ஜிஎம் கார் ஃபேக்டரிக்கு வர்றதுக்கும் கொண்டுட்டு போறதுக்கு மட்டும்தான் அந்த காரை யூஸ் பண்றாரு அப்படின்னு இருந்தாலும் யூ ஆர் நாட் என்டைட்டில் ஃபார் ஐடிசி. அப்போ புக்ல என்ட்ரி எப்படி போட வேண்டும்? புக்ல நம்ம ஏற்கனவே காருக்கு வரும்போது அந்த டோட்டல் அமௌண்ட்டை இன்க்ளூடிங் ஜிஎஸ்டி நம்ம டிப்ரிசியேஷனுக்கு எடுத்துட்டு போயிடுவோம். அப்படி வரும்போது இங்க நம்ம புக்ல எந்த விதமான என்ட்ரியும் போடுறதுக்கு தேவையில்லை. Yeah, that is also a very interesting question. Impact on revised GST 3B. See, that is what I am very much worried. See, that the advisory is very much silent on this aspect. They are not talking anything about the GSTR 3B. See, disclosures that are required in GSTR 3B, and then there has been a circular given how the GSTR 3B has to be filled. What are the data? நம்ம அதில் GSTR 3B என்னென்ன கொடுக்கணும் அப்படிங்கிறதுக்கு முந்தி இருந்ததுக்கும் அக்டோபர்ல என்னமோ நினைக்கிறேன் அந்த இதை மாத்துறாங்க. ஸோ அந்த மாத்தினதை ஏன்னா ஒரு ஃபுல் கிளியரா கொண்டுட்டு வரணும். ஏன்னா ஐடிசி கிரெடிட் கிளைம் அண்ட் ஐடிசி ரிவர்சல் இது எல்லாத்தையுமே தனியா கொண்டுட்டு வரணும். நம்ம 4A5A ஆல் அதர் ஐடிசியில நம்ம டெஃபர் பண்ண ஐடிசி எவ்வளவு எடுத்திருக்கோம் அப்படிங்கறத காமிக்கணும். ஸோ அப்போ எவ்வளவு ஐடிசி அன்கிளைம்டா நம்மகிட்ட இருக்குது அப்படிங்கறத காமிக்கணும். ஸோ அந்த இது எல்லாமே இப்போ இதெல்லாம் வரும்போது ஒரு சேஞ்சஸ் வருமா அப்படின்னா 3Bயும் மாத்தணுமா அப்படிங்கறதெல்லாம் ஒரு கேள்வி. ஸோ whether 3B should be amended or these are the things that has to be seen. Ravichandran TA has raised hands. If at all anything, you can put it in the chat box or you can unmute yourself and then ask the question. Ravichandran TA. அதே மாதிரி எஸ் பாலாஜி எதுவும் கேள்வி இருந்தா நீங்க கேளுங்க, அப்படின்னா சாட் பாக்ஸ்ல போடுங்க. Thank you audience for your continuous support. It was a wonderful to have such a questions from you, and it was nice sharing what is in my mind regarding this new IMS facility that is going to be made available shortly to the registered taxpayers. Thank you, one and all. Thanks for your patience in listening, and then thanks for staying with us till now. And then hope to meet you in some other session also. Thanking you.